Hello there, my name is Mark, and in this video I will show you how I created a piece of net art. Before I describe the process, all images I used in this GIF were public domain images, all of which had a Creative Commons licenses. So the first thing I did was open up GIMP and inserted this image into it. I then resized the image into an 800 by 800 frame. I then moved the XY coordinates to my liking, making sure the head was positioned within it. I wanted to remove the background, so I made a selection in the bottom left of the image and used an alpha transparency layer and just deleted it, making it transparent as a result. And then I exported the image. The final thing I did here was change the hue of the image too. I messed around a bit and exported 4 more colours that I will use when making the GIF. So here is another image that I applied the same process to. I resized the image into another 800 by 800 frame, and I just wanted one of the heads, making the rest of the image transparent before exporting it. Once again, I chose 4 other hues to be part of the final GIF. Now in this image, I just wanted the hand and the smartphone, as it is a key element in my idea for the final GIF. So once again, I used an alpha transparency layer and selected the areas that I did not want and deleted once more. In this part, I wanted to fill the smartphone screen with an eye image, so I simply placed that image behind the screen and masked out the outer part of the image and saved it for future use. I wanted another image to be placed in the screen of the smartphone too, and for this it needed to be rotated 90 degrees and then simply fitted the AR image into the screen before exporting it. The next stage was to insert a background behind each of the head images. I just simply placed the binary code behind the head and exported it. I repeated this process with the other 4 hue coloured heads and just changed the position of the background image, having a slight variation in all of the backgrounds in those 5 images. That exact same process for this image. I placed the digital code behind the head before exporting it, and once again just slightly changing the background position on the other 4 colour variants of this head. The next element was adding a text-based element to it. I first used the binary head in this online image to ASCII converter and simply copied the text and pasted it over the image with the background I created earlier. I then changed the colour of the text to a similar colour of the head, causing the background to be filtered. I did the exact same with this head, copying the text and pasted it over the background version of it. Just like before, I repeated this process on the other 8 hue coloured head images, making the text the same colour as the head in each. The next stage was to start making the GIF, so I imported all the 10 coloured head images and created a new frame animation in Photoshop, selecting which frames I wanted each image to go into. I left some blank spaces for glitch effect images, which I will create after setting up the GIF. I inserted the first smartphone into the GIF and placed it into frame 2, making sure that it appears as if it is just entering the frame, and in frame 3, 4 and 5 it is completely in the frame. Again, this smartphone image was placed into frame 11 as just entering the GIF, and in frames 12, 13 and 14 is clearly visible. To make a profound effect, I wanted a zoom effect on both smartphones. So in frame 4 I made the image bigger, appearing as if it is zoomed in, and made it even bigger in 5, zooming in even closer. Exact same process for this image, frame 13 zoomed in closer and frame 14 much closer up. Once I completed that, I changed the frame rates of all images at 1/4 of a second, but went back to change the blank frames to just 1/10 of a second to make the glitch more realistic. So now, to create the glitch images, I use another online tool to do this. I first used frame 1 and messed around a bit and exported 2 images from this. I then chose frame 5 and once again experimented and saved 2 images from it. I also did frames 10 and 14 with yet more messing and experimenting, and saved 2 more glitch images for each image. The final stage, I imported the glitch images and placed them in the frames which I planned. Frame 5 glitches will be placed in frames 6 and 7, frame 10 glitches will be in frames 8 and 9, frame 14 glitches in frames 15 and 16, and finally frame 1 glitches in frames 17 and 18. I did this to make the transition between the 2 major parts of the GIF to be much more smoother. So that completed the GIF, and here is the final result of that process. And with that, thank you for listening, and I hope you learned a great amount from this.